You're watching Bengals Breakdown, your home for everything Cincinnati Bengals. I'm fired up. You're here because we've got real football talk coming your way, and this Sunday just got better. Today's episode is loaded. Orlando Brown Jr. just went on ESPN and gave some inside thoughts on two big names, Shemar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson. There's noise about Trey Hendrickson and the Seattle Seahawks. We'll clear that up with the facts. And yeah, PFF disrespected the Bengals wide receiver core. You already know we're not letting that slide. Plus, clips of Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase at Fanatics Fest? We've got reactions. But before we dive into today's headlines, do one thing for your Bengals family. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss a beat during training camp and beyond. Because trust me, this offseason's about to explode. The position battles, the new faces, the fight in the trenches. You want the real updates? You'll get them right here. Let's start with Orlando Brown Jr., the Bengals anchor on the left side of the offensive line. He recently sat down with ESPN's NFL Live, and while he kept it professional, one comment stood out when he talked about locker room chemistry and some of the contract buzz involving Shemar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson. Here's the key quote. "We've got a very close locker room, first and foremost. Guys have talked to Trey. Guys have talked to Shemar. Even when Ja'Marr and T were going through what they were going through, we spoke to them. At the end of the day, it's the NFL. It's a business. It wasn't a leak. It wasn't drama. But that last line says it all. It's a business." And if you know anything about the Bengals front office, that business is all about long-term value and strategic loyalty. So what's really going on with Trey? And what's the locker room vibe as training camp approaches? In the NFL, contract talks can get messy, but inside the Bengals locker room, there's still confidence this situation will work itself out. When Orlando Brown Jr. went on ESPN and spoke up about the team's mindset, he didn't sound like a guy throwing out guesses. His tone carried something more, optimism, and maybe even a message. Could Orlando be nudging the front office a bit? Maybe. But when a leader like him speaks publicly, especially about teammates like Trey Hendrickson, it carries weight. Now let's be honest, Trey's offseason has been a roller coaster. At first, the assumption was simple. The deal's getting done. That's what fans believed. That's what insiders expected. After all, Duke Tobin said the right things. Chase and Higgins' deals were making progress. Everything felt on track. Then, the tone shifted. Trey aired out some frustration, first on the Pat McAfee show, then through statements released by Adam Schefter. He even showed up to OTAS, didn't participate, but made sure to send a message through the media. At that point, doubts crept in. Was this going sideways? But lately, momentum is shifting back in a positive direction. According to a report from Diana Rossini, negotiations have reopened. Now, at Orlando Brown Jr.'s public vote of confidence, and it starts to feel like the ice is thawing. That matters. Brown isn't just a veteran. He's a pillar in that locker room, and when he shows faith, it signals that players are still aligned behind the scenes. Now let's not lump everyone into one category. Shemar Stewart's case, completely different. He's a rookie. He hasn't proven anything yet. That's the reality. Fans are frustrated, and rightly so. Before contracts and negotiations, step one is simple. Get on the field. Show up. Earn your stripes. That's how it works in Cincinnati. As for Hendrickson, he's earned his say. Back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons. He's not just asking for a deal. He's fighting for what could be his last major payday before entering the later stages of his career. And truthfully, he's got more great football in him. This offseason is his moment. But now it's on the front office and his camp to find common ground before training camp kicks off. And with the tone starting to shift, the clock is ticking. But hope isn't gone. What Orlando Brown Jr. said about Trey Hendrickson and Shemar Stewart wasn't just player speak. It hit on something deeper, the tight bond inside this Bengals locker room. We've heard it before from Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. This team rides the ups and downs together. From gut punch losses to deep playoff runs, they've stayed connected. Brown's comments only confirm what we already know. This is one of the most unified locker rooms in the NFL. Now, the hope is that unity turns into resolution. Can both Hendrickson and Stewart get their situations handled before training camp? Fans are watching closely. The locker room believes it can happen, but belief only gets you so far. It's time for results. Let's shift to the noise around Trey Hendrickson and the Seattle Seahawks. The rumors got sparked when Daniel Jeremiah, a respected NFL analyst, spoke on Seattle radio. He said something that raised eyebrows. If you're the Seahawks, you should be doing everything you can to land Trey Hendrickson. And from a Seattle perspective, he's not wrong. Hendrickson is exactly the kind of game changer a team like that could use. But here's the truth for Bengals fans. This isn't happening. There's no actual movement, no offers on the table, and no serious traction toward a trade. It's just speculation. And that's all it's ever been. If a deal were going to happen, it would have been back before the draft when teams were reshuffling their rosters and trying to make cap space work. At this point, the Bengals have zero incentive to move a player like Trey. He's been one of the NFL's most productive pass rushers the past 2 seasons. He's a tone setter, a leader. And if Cincinnati is serious about chasing another deep playoff run, you don't let guys like that walk. Not now. So the takeaway? Seattle can talk. Analysts can speculate. But Hendrickson is a Bengal. And unless something drastic changes, he's staying right here in stripes. The Bengals are in a championship window, plain and simple, with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and an offense built to explode. This isn't the time to be planning for 2026. So the idea of trading Trey Hendrickson for future draft picks? Laughable. You don't weaken your pass rush to maybe get better in 2 years. Cincinnati's mindset is clear. Win now. They've been stacking this roster for moments like these, and letting go of your top edge rusher in the heart of your title push isn't just bad strategy. It's unthinkable. Here's the real scenario. Either Hendrickson and the front office find common ground, or he sits, but he's not suiting up for anyone else. Not in 2025. Not while this team is loaded and chasing a ring. Now let's pivot to another storyline heating up. PFF's latest wide receiver core rankings. And yeah, Cincinnati got shortchanged. The list wasn't just about top duos. It ranked entire receiver rooms, and the Bengals came in at number 3, behind the Eagles and, wait for it, the Buccaneers. Yes, Tampa Bay. Let's be clear. Philly? Fine. They've got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and solid depth. But Tampa, over a group featuring Chase, Higgins, and a rising rookie class behind them, that's a stretch. And don't forget, this isn't just about names. It's about chemistry, experience, and the fact that Joe Burrow is delivering the ball. You can't separate a great WR room from a great QB connection, and no one in the league has a stronger one than Burrow and Chase. If this were about wide receiver duos, there wouldn't even be a conversation. Cincinnati's WR1, WR2 combo is elite, but even as a full unit, the Bengals have explosiveness and depth that most teams can't match, especially with young players pushing for more snaps behind the stars. So, let the media doubt. Let the rankings slide them. Because once this offense hits the field, the Bengals will do what they've always done. Prove it where it counts. Let's be real. When you line up every wide receiver unit in the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals belong at the top. Start with Jamar Chase, arguably the most dominant wideout in football. You don't just get elite speed and hands. You get a receiver who takes over games and reshapes defensive game plans every single week. Now add T. Higgins, a physical, high-point threat who would be a WR1 on most teams in the league. Together, they form the best receiving duo in the NFL. That's not a debate. That's just fact. So when PFF ranked the Bengals' entire receiver room behind the Eagles and the Buccaneers, it raised more than a few eyebrows. Philly has serious talent, no doubt. But Tampa Bay at number 2? Over Cincinnati? That's hard to justify. Sure, Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer and Chris Godwin is legit, but beyond them, a rookie in Emeka Egbuka and unproven depth doesn't stack up to what Cincinnati is quietly building behind Chase and Higgins. Let's talk depth, because the Bengals have it. Andre Iosivas flashed in key red zone moments last season. Strong hands, fearless over the middle, and built like a possession nightmare. He's got breakout written all over him in year 2. Then there's Jermaine Burton, blazing speed, elite agility, and turning heads in camp. If the mental side sharpens up, he could become Burrow's next lethal deep threat. And don't forget Charlie Jones. Health's been the only obstacle, but when he's on the field, especially in the return game, you see his quickness and vision in flashes. Yes, there are question marks outside the top 2, but this isn't just a two-man show anymore. This group is evolving fast, and if the younger guys level up, no one's going to match what Cincinnati rolls out at receiver this season. Bottom line, you've got the stars, you've got the depth, you've got Burrow throwing the ball. Let's be honest, Joe Burrow is usually the calmest, coolest, and most in control guy in any room. Whether it's delivering strikes in the fourth quarter or leading this team with that trademark poise, he's built a reputation as Cincinnati's unshakable franchise quarterback. So what happens when he steps off the football field and tries something new? Well, he misses. Badly. At a recent offseason event, Burrow tried his hand at a baseball throwing challenge, aiming for a strike zone. And not only did he missed multiple times and by a wide margin. Now, it was all in good fun, but it's rare to see the Bengals superstar looking that human. And honestly, that's what made it so great. We're used to seeing him in total control, perfectly placed deep balls to Jamar Chase, dissecting defenses, keeping this team alive even through injury-plagued stretches. So, watching him struggle to hit a simple target with a baseball? Kinda refreshing. Of course, this wasn't about athletic ability. Anyone who's ever gone from throwing a football to throwing a baseball knows the mechanics are completely different. The weight, the grip, the motion. Burrow clearly tried to throw it like a football, and that just doesn't translate. Every toss pulled way left. And honestly, it looked like he was having a laugh at his own expense, which just shows why the locker room rallies around this guy. He's not afraid to be himself, even if that means being the butt of the joke for once. But don't let that little clip fool you. Joe Burrow looks fully healthy. He had a strong offseason, a sharp minicamp, and all signs point toward him being ready to go once training camp opens. No brace, no hesitation, just locked in, laser-focused football coming soon. So yeah, maybe baseball isn't in Burrow's future, but football? He's right where he belongs.